What are you doing? Okay, I'm deeply confused here. It says that I'm live, but then it says that I'm not. And there we go. Okay, finally. Sorry, that was super weird to me. Wait. No, that seems correct. Okay. Let me unmute this just to make sure. No, that seems correct. Okay. Okay. That's all right. I guess we're back up, and there's just some weird oddities going on there. So, hello everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and it is October 12th, and this is the October 12th TextForce Devstream. So, um, what we're going to be doing today is just a lot of audio stuff. Specifically, we're going to start off by getting um, the sound manager sort of updated, new and improved, adding a lot of features to it. I've already done some of that, but we're going to finish off the actual uh, code necessary to make it function with the new system. Um, so I guess a quick high level overview. I have created a scriptable object class called Sound Collection, and this class is basically going to be used to create a library that I can pull from, and then I can easily try to play sounds instead of having direct references to audio clips. I can pass an ID, which is just going to use this name and an int value that's hidden behind it, similar to how I do a lot of my other IDs, like data IDs and such. And then I can just pass that integer to the sound manager and say, play this sound, and it'll be able to grab that sound from the list of sounds that it has in these collections and then properly play it. So to give you a sense of how that will actually, well, I'll give you a sense of how it will look. We can't test it right now because I haven't actually hooked up the stuff that will play sounds based off of int values. That's what we're going to be doing starting off. And then hopefully we're going to move into actual integration with our system. So I've added a audio field, you can see that here, to our spreadsheet. And that means that we'll be able to basically treat it similar to how we treat output. We'll have not int values, but name values. Mostly because it wouldn't be good to just have arbitrary like number values like that. That wouldn't be human readable. So instead I'm going to pass the names that I would want to do. So I would say like alarm or alarm if I wanted to play the alarm sound effect. And then if I wanted to have multiple sound effects because I have multiple outputs, then I would just separate them by comma. Similar issue to that. Very, very simple. So let's go ahead and get back here. We're going to jump back here. And so the way things are currently set up, Sound Manager expects you to pass it an audio clip and then a bunch of parameters, whether it should, whether that sound should loop, whether it should have a specific volume, if it should have pitch alteration, if it's part of an audio mixer group. And I've kind of expanded on this with a generic sound class, which is not pulled up currently. Let's see, sound. So this sound class, you'll see it has an ID, which is the numerical ID that we use to identify it. It has a name, which again is used as a human readable name for us. It has a sound type, which is split currently amongst effects, speech, and music. I don't really need the speech, but that might be something I end up doing. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to ever have characters do like a sort of Babelfish type thing where they go like meh, 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 meh. I doubt it, but you never know. So for now we do have support for that. If I just peek this, you can see we have effects, music, and speech. Effects would be sound effects, music is music, obviously, and then speech is people talking. The audio clip itself that it's going to play when you reference this sound. An instance limit in case I want to limit the amount of sounds that can possibly play, and that's unlikely to happen really, but this is something that's being worked into my common system, not specifically for TextQuest. And that is something that could be useful in future games. Whether it loops, we have a pitch range, so if we want to have pitches between a certain range, like 0.5 to 1.5, we can support that. Volume, and then of course spatial blend, which is whether it's a 2D or 3D sound. Let's go ahead and go back up here. And this is the inspector that we get from that. It's all drawn in a custom inspector, although I'm probably going to refactor that custom inspector at some point, but not tonight. I'm not too worried about it. But you can see we have all these wonderful little sliders and knobs and such that we can do, and then that'll help us out with basically setting all these parameters, which means that we no longer have to pass. Let's go to our sound source. Large chunks like this. Instead, we can pass a single sound, and it will be able to parse all the information it needs from that class. In any case, so we need to actually, in addition to adding support for sound playing, I think I'm also going to collapse this initialize function, basically so that it's part of the play sound function, which will also be actually just renamed to play, making sure that I don't have private ones called play, of course. Good. So let's rename this to play. And rename this to play. All right. And then same thing for stop. Stop. Rename to stop. All right. So currently we don't have support for our actual sound class yet. That's what we're going to add. And as I was saying, part of the other thing we're going to do today is initialize is its own separate function here, and you can see in Sound Manager that I actually call source.initialize before I call source.play, but I might as well just call source.initialize and pass all that parameter, or source.play, and pass all this information in anyway. It doesn't really make sense for them to be separate because there's never really a point where I'm going to initialize a sound independent of playing it. So I'm probably just going to eliminate the initialize function and make it part of the actual play function. Let's see here. We are also going to go ahead and let's do a couple of things. Yeah, let's just go ahead and start coding. Sort of freeform this. So we're going to start off with play audio clip. Oops. Clip. Clip. There we go. So we're probably going to end up having a play that has all of this function, or all of this functionality. Oh, and you know what? Actually, I forgot to add that to our sound manager, or sound class, didn't I? So public, what is that? Audio mixer group, which probably means I need to say using the engine.audio audio mixer group. We'll just call this mixer group. Is equal. Can't really set that equal to anything. Do I need anything else? Not in particular. All right. So let's go ahead and let's make a play function. We'll do comments later. So we'll start with that. We're going to just duplicate all of this information, basically. All right. And let's see. I'm going to grab this, paste this in here. And, oh, really? I don't have a delay. Huh. Look at that. So, I guess we'll probably want this here. Yes, I think that's fine. Delay is just how long it takes to start playing it. We might end up adding a crossfade as well, so we can do like a fade to volume, or fade from, yeah, it'd probably be a fade volume. Well, no. So, we'll get to that when we get to it. So I'll go ahead and say to do add crossfade. And that won't be too difficult when we get to that, but for now I want to set up the base structure for us to start playing things. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, copy this all down, paste it there. That should take care of pretty much everything that we need here, which means that everything is essentially just going to, well, actually, you know what? Do we have an initialize? No. Okay. Yeah, this float delay is going to be the annoying thing to deal with. Let's see. Actually, can I simplify this, I guess? I guess I could. So instead of having tons of functions, I can just say is equal to 0f, then is equal to false, 1F. Pitch is equal to 1F. And then the group would have to be equal to null. Yeah, that seems all right. I wonder if it would make more sense for me to move my audio mixer group up. No, that seems like a much less used function than pitch and volume and all that would be. So now I have an overloaded function, which makes it a lot easier for me to do. So I think I can actually just do this. Get rid of all of that chunk of code. Let's go to Sound Manager. We'll move all of this there. And I suppose we'll say 0F, unless I have a delay. Which I don't, which means that I will need one. Alright, let's see here. So yeah, using an overloaded function makes that a lot easier. Let's go ahead and say public void play, and we'll just pass a sound. Again, sound is basically a nice way to encompass all of this information. Let's see here. Oh, and you know what? We'll probably also want to do stop all coroutines at the top of play, and let's see here. Yeah, this does present a little bit of a problem, doesn't it? That's probably why I did it. Do I really need delayed functionality? It probably wouldn't hurt, but I wonder. Well, we'll mess with that. Well, I never use it, I don't think, so I might as well actually remove delays. Because I think that value will be much better as a crossfade, I suppose. Let's go ahead and rename that to crossfade. So we won't have support for delaying a sound before playing it anymore, but that means that we can, instead of having like an arbitrary 2-second delay, I don't really know when I would need that, we can have it crossfade from 0F all the way up to whatever the volume says that it should be. So let's see here. Playing coroutine. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get rid of. Well, no. Play sound coroutine versus play coroutine. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, all right. So let's see here. I'm trying to think of how best to structure this. Because I could do 2 separate coroutines, or yeah, well, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to do two separate coroutines because it doesn't make sense for playing coroutine, which is just basically listening for the duration of the clip to stop. I don't think it makes sense for me to merge that in with a coroutine that would crossfade. Instead, I think I should have crossfade happen independently of that, and then the playing coroutine happens all the time regardless. So that means that this will change to always play the playing coroutine, and instead we are going to have. Should I have a public? I probably should. All right. We'll go ahead and say public void set volume float volume. Oops. Now we get into some annoying things. I guess I'll have 2 set volumes. One for setting the volume to any volume from the current volume, and then one to set it from a specific volume to a target volume. So we'll go ahead and do this, and we'll say float volume. Well, no, we'll say float start volume, comma. Oops, that's not a comma. Float end volume or volume. All right. Let's go ahead and come down here. Let's see, play sound coroutine. Might as well just rename you, shouldn't we? So let's go ahead and say set volume coroutine. And this will be float start volume, then float end volume. Oh, and we need a duration, don't we? Oh, yeah, that's the thing. So say float duration is equal to 1f by default, and then float duration is equal to 1f by default, which I don't actually think I can do this because these parameters could get it confused. It's really annoying. Because if you type two floats in, it won't know if you mean set volume here or the set volume, so I guess I probably should actually make these like that. I guess that's fair. If we're setting volume, then we should probably assume that you want a specific duration. All right, so let's go down here, set volume coroutine, start volume, end volume, and then float duration. All right, let's go ahead and say, start, well, not start coroutine, set volume from volume. Well, no, that's, yeah, okay. All right, so we'll say 0f to volume based on crossfade. All right, and then we're going to have an else here that's going to just straight up set our volume to be whatever. All right. I suppose I should probably clamp this volume. Well, you know what? I'm going to take away the clamped volume stuff in case I ever want to mess with it. It just means I'm going to have to be a little careful, a little more careful passing in parameters. That's not too bad. So, all right. So the first set volume is just going to call set volume from, let's see, so cached audio, cached audio, cache source, that's what it is. Source, capital S, there we go, dot volume, then we'll target volume and give it a duration, there we go, and this will say start coroutine, set volume coroutine, start volume, end volume, and duration. All right, pretty straightforward. Okay, so here's where it gets super fun. We're going to say float t is equal to 0f while t is less than duration. No. It's less than 1f. T plus equals time dot delta time divided by duration. Yield return null. And then we'll say, while this is happening, cached. Wow, I can't spell cached. Source dot volume is equal to mathf.lerp between start volume and end volume based on t. All right, and then at the very end here, we're just going to say cache source volume is equal to end volume. Very simple. All right, let's see here. I think we are good. Well, for the actual setup of our coroutines. Yeah, I think we're good. Let's see, do I want to... Nah, it's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and save. All right, so now I think we're going to want to say public void play. This is all in sound source, which is great because actually this means that we're kind of going to have duplicate code. The way the sound system works is basically Sound Manager kind of acts like a static wrapper for sound sources. So you just call like soundmanager.play, and then it will play whatever sound you want, but it just sort of calls play on these sound sources that it initializes an instant, creates an instance of. So this is going to be sound, and comma float crossfade. Get rid of this play here, which means I can get rid of this actual to do crossfade. We're going to do a similar thing here. Let's go ahead and do this. Sound.clip, then sound.loop, sound. Do I actually? I don't remember if I have a way of getting a nice. I don't. Yeah, I guess I should do that. So we'll go ahead and say public float get pitch. We'll say return mathf.lerp. Oh no, I'm sorry, mathf.random. It's random.range, isn't it? Random.range. Random range, and that's going to be between is it min pitch and max pitch? Min pitch. I can't spell min pitch. Max pitch. All right. Simple as that. Let's go ahead and go back here as equal to sound dot get pitch, and then finally sound dot group or mixer group. All right, next is going to be sound.volume here, followed by sound.volume, and I think that's it. Should be it anyway. Let's see, does this actually call? Okay, so yeah, that actually calls play, and then we just wait until it ends, and then we call stop. All right, so stop is a little easier. Oh, and I guess crossfade here can be 0f. So stop, we're going to do another float. Crossfade is equal to 0f. So we're basically just going to remove this. Paste that in here. We don't have a delay anymore, so we're just going to do that. And right, here's where it does get a little annoying. So I don't want to use a delay coroutine, but we are going to need either a callback for when the crossfading ends, or, well, I guess we can do that actually. Yeah, it's not too bad. Let's see. So, yeah, this is fine. All right. So we're going to change this to crossfade. And I know that's going to be fine for now, but we're not actually done with that. Next, we're going to say system.action callback is equal to null. Go ahead and copy this back here as well, which I guess means that I'm actually going to need to do that. And that means I need to call this. Let's see, set volume coroutine, paste that in there. All right, and then we're going to get to the end here, and we'll just say if callback does not equal null, callback. All right, and that means that instead of doing this start and stop coroutine stuff here, we can simply say, let's see, set volume 0f, crossfade, and then stop. Can I do that? Nope. I don't want to pass a delegate. That would be stupid. But it would probably be all right. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I could just do this. I just don't particularly like that. But I suppose that's fine for now, just to test things out. Alright, now we're not using you anywhere, are we? Good. Get rid of you. Cool. So, yeah, that should be good. So that has our sound source working with the sound system, but now I need to set up Sound Manager to do this. So let's see here. Yeah, I'm wondering if I should also, again, try to just set these in such a way that I can just overload them all. It seems like that would be fine. So let's do that. So we're going to set volume. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay, that's right. Volume is equal to 1F. Pitch is equal to 1F. Loop is equal to false. And group is equal to null. Cool. So now I should be able to get rid of this, and I think this. So we can go ahead and do that. Let's see. The parent sound, that's going to be a little tough. It shouldn't be that bad. So let's go ahead and say is equal to null here. Or, there we go. Parent sound is equal to false, I suppose. Let's see. No, I guess it would be true, wouldn't it? By default. Let's see. Loop is equal to false. I'm kind of seeing what I did up here to try and get it all. Pitch is equal to 1F. Volume is equal to 1F. And that means that I should be able to get rid of all of this again. Okay. So that let me reduce everything down to just 2 functions. That's pretty nice. But now we need to actually add support for our sound system. And then once we do that, we can finally test it to make sure that it actually works. So let's go ahead and say public static. These need to return sound sources. That way you can do stuff to them if you need. We'll do play, and then we'll say sound. That'll be our sound. This will be a transform, a origin, and the last thing we'll need there is just a bool. Parent sound is equal to true by default. Oh, right. I was going to say, why are you doing that? Let's see. And I guess before I can do anything else, I need to come down here to sound source and copy this. Change some things so that we say play sound instead of audio clip. Sound. Let's see. We can get rid of all of this. And all of this. And all of you. Alright. Cool. Let's see. Instance position. Oh, I guess I... Okay, yeah. Never mind. I guess I need this vector 3 position. It's probably not a bad idea in case I ever want to do offsets. But let's see. What else do I need to do? So I need to say sound.loop. Oh, wait, no. I can just... What? How are you working? Let's get rid of all of that. Yeah. Okay. And hold on, there was something else that needs to change because of this. Oh, right, the volume. We won't worry about the volume stuff for now. Technically, I can have sort of like a volume cap on each individual effect type. So like sound effect volumes can be clamped to 0.5 and all that. But I guess actually that's not really needed, is it? Just because our audio mixer can take care of that for us. So, we'll ignore that for now then. In any case, let's go ahead and say return play sound origin, and I guess vector 3.0, and then parent sound. Cool, so that seems to work pretty well. I think that's all I needed to do, really. So let's go ahead and do a sound ID test. So we'll have that sound. We'll go ahead and say private void update. Wow, that did not go the way I was expecting. And we'll say if input.get key down. We'll just say key code dot f. I'm not doing that. I'm not using that for anything. We'll go ahead and say sound manager dot play sound ID. Oh, that's something I need to do. Right. So I need to be able to just play the sound ID itself, which currently it cannot do, obviously. So let's go back here. So we have our sound. We're going to need public static sound source play int sound ID. And I suppose that's going to necessitate both transform and positioning, similar to this one. So we'll say transform origin, then bool parent sound is equal to true. Alright, so for this, it's pretty simple. We're just going to say return play find. Is that not static? Really? Well, where are you? No, it's not. Alright. So I need to say instance.find sound ID. Oops. So this find function basically just takes an int value and then returns a sound. Then we will say origin and then parent sound. Cool. I guess while we're in here, let's go ahead and finish up our other different types of playing. So instead of an origin, we're going to say vector 3 position null and then position here. All right, let's go ahead and copy this. Thing. This is just going to say int sound ID instance.find, similar to before. Oh, and I guess we'll actually do this. Instance.play. Oh, and I don't need the parent. And I don't need the parent sound here. So false. Is that correct? Yes, that seems to be correct. So, yep. All right. So now I should be able to simply say play by sound ID. Now the real question there is, do I want to allow... I probably should allow strings, so using the name itself as well. But you know what? For now, let's go ahead and just try to test this. So we'll say play.sound ID. Really? Why are you being like that? Sound ID should just be an integer. Let's see. Play. Sound. Oh, it's because I need to give it an actual thing. Duh. Let's go ahead and say, I guess we'll give it a transform. So public transform sound test. We'll say sound test. Cool. So now we can test our sound effect. Let's go ahead and drop this into the scene. And for now, I guess we're just going to test this alarm sound. Let that compile. And ta-da! Okay, we're going to make a new object. Let's go ahead and pull our sound ID test on there. So we have this little warning here. It says there's no sound manager in the scene. To select sounds, we need to have the sound manager in the scene so that we can actually look at them, which means that I'm going to pull global into here. And that means sound manager is not... Okay, that's interesting. Because it's right there. So that's curious. All right then, let's take a look at my sound ID test and figure out why my property drawer is not updating properly. Let's see, if not sound manager.exists, let's peek at this, return instance. So we want instance to not equal null here for existing. Okay, that's super weird because it totally should exist. Oh, you know what it is? It's, yep, okay. Yeah, that's not great. So it's probably not going to get past that unless I explicitly check for this. So that's great. So I can't just do this nice little instance does not equal null. Instead, I need to say, let's go ahead and get rid of this and instead say instance. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, right. That gets a little bit more complicated. I suppose that. All right, yeah. So let's go ahead and say if instance does not equal null. Do a little bit of a wrapper here. This should help solve the issue. And then we're going to go ahead and change this to a capital I. So now it should try to instantiate itself. Cool. So let that compile. And now when we look at the sound test ID, it should force the sound manager to set its instance value, and then we'll be able to go from there. Ta-da! So now we have a nice little drop down that we can use to select sounds. I am working on a little test button, so I can click on this button to test the sound effect in the editor without having to actually navigate to the sound or the audio clip. But for now, we're not going to worry about that because that's some weird internal scripting relating to Unity. So let's go ahead and set our alarm value here. We'll set the game object itself to be the transform value. And let's put this by our sign here. Okay, hit F here. Just so that we have a nice centralized area. All right. So now when I hit play, when I hit F, I should be able to hear that sound. Assuming that it'll ever let me play. Well, while that's taking forever, I'm going to take a drink. Let me think. Yeah, I hate when this happens. I think it's something to do with Unity playing for the first time after it's been opened, and I always close it and reopen it. Whoa! There's something I haven't heard in a while. Oh, okay, so that would be that sound. So it's working. That means that we are playing sound effects via an int ID. That is human readable as a string. Cool. So now we're going to want to set it up to actually parse those sound effects so that when you interact with objects, it will play sounds. That is going to be really kind of tough. Okay. Let me think about how we want to structure that. So ideally, let's go ahead and select the direction sign so you can see what we work with. Every interactive object is going to have its list of verbs, and we would probably have on output here. You see that we have output number 1. We would probably have audio in here as well. God, this is becoming such a cluttered UI. But I'm trying to think if I'm ever going to need a situation where I play a sound that is not supposed to play in the same area as other sounds on this object. Basically, I'm wondering if I ever need to force a sound to play somewhere else. I probably do. Yeah. Oh boy, this is not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of editor scripting. I'm not going to lie about that. It is going to be a lot of editor scripting. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm trying to think what the best way to do this would be. Well, I suppose first things first. Let's go ahead and get rid of U. Don't really need our sound ID test anymore, so I can close U. We can get rid of sound collection inspector. That is also good. Sound manager is not quite where I want it to be. In fact, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and just do this. And we'll change this to not int, string sound name. So now I can play using just a string. But it's actually going to be pretty important for me to have, let's see, call missing sounds. Where are you? Did I paste it all the way at the top? No, not paste. Did I write it all the way at the top? Well, I guess technically it's pasting because I wrote it below and then I moved it up. But let's see. Get sound count. Get sound count. Sound count. Yeah. So. I'm wondering what would be best. Should I make these static functions or not? I guess it's not too bad to not have them be static. All right, let's go to interactive object. All right, so we're gonna have some more fun here. Actually, no, before we even do that, we're gonna have to come up here. Let's see. It's gonna go to the verbs, right? Let's go to verb. Go to definition. Drag that over here. So we have in each verb we have a list of outputs, which are just a list of strings, which means that we're also going to want to have a public list string. Yeah, I wouldn't want them to be sounds. They would have to be strings. So we'll say list string. Actually, would it make more sense for me to go ahead and make them ints? Yeah, we'll make them ints. So we'll say output audio is equal to new. This is going to be super awkward. So my original plan here was to basically have the same amount of audio as outputs. So if you have 3 string outputs that would be done in succession, then you would have 3 audio outputs that would be done in succession. But if only the last one needs audio, then it doesn't really make sense for me to have a bunch of null values. So I kind of think it would be better instead to have a list of structs, and those structs would have an int, which is their ID for the sound to be played, transform, where it should be played at, and then an index value on the outputs that it should play at. So what output index it should play at. Oh dear. If I do that though, that really complicates this. So, because for example, let's say I had 3 outputs: default, test 1, and then test 2. For my audio, if I only wanted test 2 to have audio, I would probably have to do something like this, which is not great at all. Or something like 0 audio. Again, not great. So I almost think it'd be like that kind of. Oh dear, really? Apparently The apostrophe is a special thing in Sheets, so that means I can't use it. Ah. I mean, I could just do, I guess the simple thing would be like null, null, and then audio. That would probably be fine. So yeah, I think that's all right. And then we would just distill that down to what we need. Because mainly I'm just trying to avoid having empty values in a list. That doesn't really make sense to me. So I'd prefer to avoid that if at all possible. Let's go ahead and select our interactive object. There's our verb. There's our output type. Let's go ahead and create. Before we do that, let's let it compile. So we're going to want to say we'll need a C# struct that is just called output audio, I think. So create C# script output audio. I guess I could have called it something like interaction audio as well, but I think this is fine. Let that load. All right, so it's not going to be a class, it's just going to be a struct. It's not going to be mono behavior. It is going to be system.serializable. Then we're going to have a public int sound ID is equal to 0. We'll go ahead and have this be using the sound ID tag. Public, oh right, I forgot, it's a struct, can't do that. Transform position and public int. Actually, I guess we'll put that first, won't we? Public int index. So tooltips on all this stuff, we're going to say which output this sound should be played at. Which output index this sound should be played at. Sound ID will override that tooltip, unfortunately. Tooltip position to play the sound at. And if that is null, it will assume the root of the object that it's currently on. So let's go ahead and go back to verb. That is going to be, oh, and this needs to be a text quest using common. Okay, so this needs to be a list of output audio. Go over here, do that. Let that compile. Cool. So now we have the super fun part. So in from JSON, we are going to want to say, let's see, where's our verb? So it's going to be part of our verb. No, hold on. The JSON is our actual verb stuff, which means that we are actually going to need to add some stuff. Let's go to definition here. We have output. Let's go ahead and say verb audio is equal to audio. Go back here. Let's see. Output. Where is our output? Ah, right. It's in this list of. It's a list. I forgot. Right. Oh, this is not at all crazy. All right. So let's go ahead and say. Let's see outputs. What? Ah, there we are. So we'll go ahead and say JSON array, output audio. Oh, crud. Out audio, if I could spell audio, as equal to JSON.getArray, interactive object, utility.verb audio. I guess I could just call it well, I can't actually call it just audio because that is a special word in Unity. Of course it is. Even though it's obsolete now. Let's see. I suppose we'll also go ahead and say new JSON array in case it doesn't exist. All right, and then we're going to say for int I is equal to 0, I is less than out audio dot length, I plus plus. And let's see here. So we're going to want to say, do I need to do anything special? Ah, right, I do need to, yeah, we're going to have to parse this. So let's see here. We'll say string value is equal to out audio dot get element, or sorry, get, wait, hold on. Get string value at index I. And then we're going to say switch value dot to lower, not to look up, to lower. We'll say case nothing, case null. Oh, really? Can you not? Oh, no, we'll say break. And then also case null. We'll move the null up there. So if it's null, nothing, or spells the word null, then it will basically just continue on. We're not going to do anything. Otherwise, we are actually going to do something, and that something is going to be tough. So I can't actually just flush my existing outputs. Instead, I have to kind of merge them. So the problem is that since I have transform values, I can't really parse transform values. So instead, I have to add a reference to, or well, I basically need to not erase my existing output audio until I parse this list into an actual list. So I'm actually going to have to say list output audio. New audio is equal to new list output audio. So I have to add all this stuff to this new audio list. And then once I'm done with that, I actually have to go back through the old audio and compare them to try and match them up to existing transform values. Otherwise, whenever I refresh a object, I'm going to have to basically reset the transform values for where sounds should play. And that's not ideal. That puts a lot more work on me. I don't want to do that. So if it's null, null, or nothing, we're not going to do anything with it. Otherwise, we are going to go ahead and say new audio.add new output audio. And actually, you know what? Where is my output audio? I'm going to go ahead and come down here. And we'll say public, oh geez, index. God, this gets super messy. All right, output audio, int index, int sound ID. This dot index is equal to index. This dot sound ID is equal to sound ID. Oops, sound ID. And then this dot position is equal to null. Okay. So that's all good. I suppose we'll also go ahead and say public output audio, old audio. This dot index is equal to old audio. Wow, that did not go well. Is equal to old audio dot index. This dot sound ID is equal to old audio dot sound ID, and this dot position is equal to old audio dot position. I think that's fine. Yeah. Oh, geez. It's been a while since I've had to override operators, so this is going to be interesting. Uh, is it static override? No. Is it static operator? No. No. It's this is a super weird one. I just never remember how to do this. Override operator. Okay. I thought it was like that, but I don't think that's correct. It's been a while since I've had to override operators, so I was going to do a fancy operator comparison that basically let me see if their index and sound ID were the same, and if that's the case, just set it there. Let me think if I do that anywhere else. I think data IDs might. Or maybe collection item does. It's not that, is it? There it is, public static operator. See, I knew it. Right. So I think we have to do this, this, and this. Let's go ahead and go back to our, where are you? There. So it's public static bool. Okay. Public static bool operator is equal, and then what is it? Yeah. So output audio, audio A, output audio, audio B. And it's not going to work until I actually do it. So I probably want, yeah. So I'm just going to copy this over for now. It'll be much faster. Paste that in there. So we're going to change this to output audio. Let's see. What, seriously? Like you can't? Oh, right. It's not an object. Ooh. Yeah, that gets a little bit more messy now, doesn't it? I guess that means that I can just do this then. So we're just going to say return. Well, if audio A, I don't think I can actually check if that's null, right? Or audio B is equal to null, return false. Oh wait, no, actually, I guess I have to do this. Does not equal null. Oh, that's so awkward. I guess since it's a struct, that means they can never be null. But I guess I'll have that in there as a safety measure. Otherwise, we'll return false. Right, I also have to define the not equal to. But instead, we're going to say return audio A dot index is equal to audio B dot index, and audio A dot sound ID is equal to audio B dot sound ID. All right, so that's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and paste this, say not equal that. We'll return true in this case. And I guess for this we'll say it's not equal that, or it's not equal that. So if either of them are not equal, then they will return true. Let's see. What else do I want to do here? I think that will actually work for now. So let's go ahead and go back to our verb. All right. So new output audio. We are going to say I for our index, and then our sound ID is going to be a little bit more complicated. We're going to have to say sound manager dot instance.find value, and oh dear, that's actually going to be somewhat annoying now, isn't it? So we're going to need to get rid of this. We're going to have to say sound is equal to this, and we'll say, let me think. I guess we'll just say sound ID. Oops. Dot just ID. And we'll actually say if sound is not equal null, then we will do this. Because if it's null, we don't actually care. All right. Let's see here. I suppose we should probably say if out audio dot length is greater than 0. That way we don't do this loop when we don't need it, and we don't initialize an array list when we don't need it. Hello, Z-Link. Welcome back. How goes the code? Pretty good. Doing a lot of audio stuff tonight. Trying to get audio cues to happen when you interact with things. So that's currently what we're doing. In fact, we're setting it up on the actual interactive objects right now. We've gone through the actual setup for the sound system itself to request audio. Now we got to get it working with our parser stuff. So that's what I'm doing. How are you doing tonight? Let's see here. So, all right. So that's our initial for loop. That sets up our actual list. And then, once we've done that, we need to actually loop through our existing audio, and then finally end with, let's see, similar to how it says this dot outputs is equal to new outputs. We're just going to say this dot output audio is equal to new outputs, or new audio, I guess. But before we do that, we're actually going to do another for loop. So we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than, ooh, this is where it gets kind of awkward. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Oh, do I have to do 2 for loops? Yes. So I guess we'll say I is less than output audio dot count I plus plus. For int j is equal to 0, j is less than new audio dot count, then j plus plus. All right, so we're going to say if output audio of I is equal to new audio of j, then we are going to, we'll actually break out of that loop, and we will say new audio dot position. Okay, new audio of j dot position is equal to output audio of I dot position. Okay, so we're basically just setting this all up. Why are you not liking that? Really? Well, I suppose I could always just do this. That would work too. All right. And I think that will actually handle everything that I need. So, doing good, fearing the 29th. What's on the 29th? That's very ominous. I was going to say, that's not TwitchCon, that's already happened, right? Right? Pretty sure. I don't know. What is on the 29th? Let's see here. I think that's all I need to do. So let's try this out. And the thing that I'm actually going to try this out on is, let's go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go to intro. We're actually going to do this in the sewer. Well, we might end up also having to splice together a audio clip of this. Let's see if I have this already. Let's see, climbable, climb. Huh, really? I don't. Okay, well that's going to be interesting. Yeah, we're going to have to splice together a sound effect of someone climbing. So let's actually grab some wood. Or actually, you know what? Let's see here. Where is my player? Doing something for charity. That's cool. What are you doing? Slash for what charity? Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's go up to. Actually, you know what? Get rid of you. We can also get rid of you for now. Let's see. We're gonna go to our cabin. Cabin, because we're in the overworld. So that's canyon. Cabin. The cabin has a ladder, so we are going to test on it. Let's go ahead and go back over here. So instead of intro, we're going to go to the overworld, the cabin, objects, ladder. Playing the evil within, and I don't know the charity yet. That is a interesting choice, an interesting choice for charity, a horror game. Then again, I guess it is October. Is that just something that is going on in St. Louis, like a charity that St. Louis devs are doing, or is that a Twitch thing that you're part of, or how did the charity stuff happen? I guess would be the question there. All right. Oh my goodness, this is super old. Oh dear, like very old, as in like eons ago, I think. Or it's just out of order. That might just be the case. But I will, I suppose, just double check to make sure that all of this is correct. Good, good. Item checks. Good. And word checks. Okay, that's good. Let's go to our climbable, make sure that it's up to date. Climbable. Which is... I have too many things. Climbable. Alright, good. Last thing to do is make sure that our verbs has what it needs. Paste that in there. And finally make sure that our verbs here have to be what I need it to be. Alright, looks like we're good. A Twitch thing, my esports org does it once a month. Oh, that's cool. Why are you nervous? It's not that bad. I mean, the evil within was actually kinda... Admittedly, I didn't beat it, but I did get through the first couple of hours. And it does start off pretty high-paced. I don't know if you've played it before. I think it's pretty well-paced initially, but after a couple of hours in, it actually gets really boring if you're patient. Because it's super easy just to sneak past everyone and hit them with bottles. Yeah. Did you pick the game, or I'm assuming if that's the case that it was thrust upon you, so you had to just kind of deal with whatever they assigned to you. All right, so let's get rid of you. So now we have audio, and now I'm going to go ahead and say climb, and already we have problems. So. This is actually not something that I would probably do for climbing in particular, because I am likely going to have different sound effects for climbing up versus climbing down. And actually, if I recall correctly, I think our ladders already have... It's been a while since I've looked at them, but... Oh, jeez. It's terribly dark in here. Yeah, these already have sound effects for climbing. So, yeah, that's not great. And they're actually not particularly useful here. So I might actually do a little bit of organization here. Oh dear. Am I going to refactor some of my climbing stuff? I think I might. All right. Let's go ahead and say insert one right. Do audio again, and I will do that here as well. Right. Paste audio. All right. So this is going to be a little bit of fun audio. It's not quite what we were doing, but you know what? It's gonna serve the same purpose. Plus, actually, I guess this will let me test another thing. Let's go ahead and go to the bear. Oh, and you know what? Before I forget, I probably should do audio. Oh, nope, that's art. Nope, not L. That's music. What would I make audio? I got miscellaneous. I don't remember my own buttons. I would have thought that audio would have. Well, no, music is listen. Miscellaneous audio. Man, I'm just kind of gonna go through my thing. I don't remember. All right, fine. It's gonna be under design. Also spoilers temporarily. I helped pick the game because I'm at a handicap of playing on console. Okay. So I worked with the boss to think of a game console that is on PC. Wait, a console game that's on PC? Or wait, a game console? Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean that is. Jeez. So I'm assuming that you had a list of games that you could pick from then, and The Evil Within just happened to be one of the ones that you could play. Also, I lied. I'm going to change design to coding, and then wonder why I don't have one for audio. Because surely I do. Nothing. Man, it's got to be on a stupid key. Nope, not F. Not that. Nope. Alright. Yep, okay. Apparently I don't have one for audio. In any case. So we're going to go ahead and go back here. We're going to have audio for climbing up and down, except we don't actually have that yet. So we're going to streamline this a little bit, and instead of doing climbing stuff right now, we are going to look for a roar. Let's look for a bear. I don't have bear sound effects. Come on. What kind of audio asset package was that? I don't even have roars. That's super annoying. Growls? Yeah, okay, this looks a little bit more useful. Let's see. Cows. Well, we're gonna have a tiger. Oh my. That sounds not. I mean, sounds vaguely like a tiger. It's vaguely tiger-esque. Alright, we'll use that one. So let's go ahead and grab our sound ID. And that's Tiger Growl 03. Alright, so Tiger Growl 03. Drag that into our audio. It's an effect. So we're going to go ahead and call this, we'll just call it Tiger Growl. Get rid of all of this, all the spacing. Okay. Spatial blend should be, I think we want it to be 1 actually, so it's 3D somewhat. And that should be good. So we're going to go ahead and go over to Bear. And this will actually let us test everything too. So let's see. Oh, and good, I can clean up some stuff. It's not a container, so I can delete these. Sorry, it's fun getting to clean up old spreadsheets. Let's see. I don't know what that says about my life if I enjoy cleaning up old spreadsheets. But in any case, let's see. Switch directions. Get rid of some of this stuff. Switch combinable. Might end up needing enemy at some point. We'll leave that in. Weapon, delete. Alright. Ooh. You look like you're missing something. Is it just... Oh no, it's missing a few things. Let's see, we have effect, output. We don't have audio. Is that the only thing I'm missing? It doesn't seem like that would be the case. Okay. it is also missing other things. Require equipped. Oh my goodness, wow. It is. Well, okay, never mind. It's just missing this. Insert one left. Yeah, so now that's good. False. Go ahead and do false all across the board. All right, so now we can get my audio. Go ahead and go back here. I'm going to copy this. Pull it back up here. So we have hit, 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 hit. Okay, so we're going to say null, null, and then tiger growl. Okay. Let's go ahead and download this. And hopefully this will all actually work. Replace existing files, unwrap single row. Let's see. Export cell arrays and sheet arrays, and I think we're good there. So let's go ahead and export. Let's see. We have some scary games that I own, and the bosses have yet to play. The Evil Within. Okay. So wait, are you doing this like in a group, or is it just you playing? Because the Evil Within is single player. So. Or could it be like a rotating? I don't know. Still can't wait to play this. Keep sending friends to your game whenever I can. Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. I am. I'm still trying to finish it. Although I am actually getting much closer to finishing it now. I stated on my last Devstream on Tuesday that I intend to finish not the entire game, but the overworld by the end of this year. Which will let me move on to the last third of the game, and that will be very exciting. All right, so let's go ahead and go back over here. Let's select our objects. So props, den. Oh, I guess it wouldn't be a prop. It probably would be. Okay, well, I don't know what it is, but I can select it here. So. Oh, okay, that's a weird spot for it, but sure, why not? Explorer. In. Let's see. It's a bunch of us running the game completely blind. Okay. Are you all like playing it simultaneously? Each one has their own instance of the game running. It's sort of like I wouldn't say a race, but like a side-by-side play. All right. Let's go ahead and update this. Let's clear our console and see how many errors we get. Boom! There's the first one. Knew it would happen. Oh, right. That won't work without a... I wonder if that means I should actually... Nah, it's fine. I just wish I could move this around, but I can't. So, let's go ahead and drag in our global object. So now we can try that again. Clear that out. Hit update. Okay, we don't have errors, but we also can't see anything yet. So I'm going to go ahead and go into debug. Burn, examine, hit. We have one audio. It doesn't have its position set yet, but it does have a sound ID. Okay, so now we need to write our custom inspector for this in order to actually see anything in a useful manner. So let's go ahead and this is going to be super wonderful. I can already tell. Let's get rid of sound source. We can get rid of output audio, I think. Get rid of collection item. All right. So we're going to look at interactive object inspector. There's no E in that. Oh, it is a race. Huh. Oh man, that's going to be interesting. That game will play super hard if you're racing, because it is really unforgiving if you don't have an advantage over the enemies. And the way I played it was always to sneak around and then basically catch them off guard, because then they're easy pickings. But if you run into them and you're not really prepared for it, or if you don't have an advantage, it's going to be pretty tough, I think. Still, though, it should probably be fun for people to watch. So, all right, let's go to draw verbs, and then we're going to need to go to draw verb, and let's see, output. Let's see, output types. Blah 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 blah. Let's take a look at this. Oh, we need to see output section prefab. Let's see, output type, output, blah, blah, blah. Here we are. So I suppose I'm going to go ahead and say, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to wrap these outputs in a header. So we're going to say if custom editor utility dot draw header. Let's see, the ID is going to have to be ID. Yeah. Oh, this is not going to be fun. All right. So we'll say ID plus 2 for now. And then we'll go ahead and say new GUI context. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and try to get this to look right before I do anything else. There we are. And we're going to go ahead and say output text. Yeah, that seems right. Do I need anything else? Nope, that's good. All right, then we're going to also go ahead and say plus 3. Then we're going to have to bump this up to 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh boy, this is getting a little odd. It's going to just explode my inspector when we get back. All right. Let's see. Lost my spot. Here we are. This is going to be output audio. All right. And then we're going to have draw output. Jeez. Yep. This is where it gets fun. Let's go to definition here. We'll have protected void draw output audio. All right, we're going to say int index so that we know which output audio we're drawing, and then serialized property, audio, I guess. That will be the actual audio struct that we're adjusting. We're going to go ahead and copy some of this code over. It'll be somewhat similar, but not quite the same. And then let's see here. What do I need to do? Okay. Well, Oh, there's potential that could be kind of weird, but that's unlikely. All right, let me think. So instead of saying index here, it's actually going to say output audio dot find property relative index dot int value plus 1. So wrapping all that, then dot to string. And then we're going to say, we have 2 things here that we need to do. So we're going to say editor GUI layout dot property field, and audio dot find property relative. So we're going to use the serialized property functionality to find our sound ID, and then just go ahead and duplicate this, and then say position. Okay. Now if I'm correct, which of course I'm infallible, so I'm always correct. That's a terrible joke. I am obviously like the worst person to say that. Let's see here. We're going to say output audio. Yeah, okay, this is not super great. Let's go ahead and do this. Output audio. Output audio. Grab this. And okay. So now we should, when we refresh that inspector, we should get a, or we should be able to see our audio effects now. Hopefully, if I'm correct. Okay, let that go. It is not drawing them, which is somewhat worrying. Why not? Output audio dot array size. It's not throwing a null reference either, which is kind of odd. Huh. All right. Or at least I'm not crazy, right? Like it's not. Also, apparently this is advanced save options. Windows. All right. And huh. Super weird. So let's take a look at this. It's open, which means that it should be drawing, but it's not. Okay. Let's see. Go to definition here. Begin verticals label field. We're not getting errors, which means that it has to think that it's got. Wait, did it reset? I guess that's possible. Let's go ahead and debug this again. 21 output audio. No, it has. It definitely has it. Okay. Huh. Why would you not work? Let's see here. Acquired items, item checks. Here we are. Output audio. I suppose I could say something like if m output audio dot array size is greater than 0, then we're going to do this. Else, we will go ahead and say editor GUI layout dot help box, and then we'll give it a message, and then a message type dot info. All right, so we'll say no output audio set. Okay. So now we should at least get a help box if there's nothing. Otherwise, we should see stuff. So I'm wondering if this will force it in the way I expect. No output audio set, you liar. Let us see here. So this is, yeah, it's passing in the verb. It is correct, right? Like, let's see, new audio. Yeah, output audio right there. It's public. Output audio is serializable. So what is going on here? It's doubly weird because our debug inspector shows it. You can see it right there, output audio size 1. Oh, you know what it is? It's me being stupid because guess what? I was not looking at the right thing. Let's go ahead and go down here. We need to go to hit. I love it when I'm stupid like that. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So model. Yeah, we'll put it in the model. So cool. So we're gonna go ahead and try and hit this tiger, or this not tiger, this bear. And on the third hit, it should actually growl at us. Although actually, I probably want that to be on the second hit. And this is where something that really does concern me comes in. I don't have a convenient way of specifying order. So that means I have to fix the actual information in the JSON file, which is not ideal. That's the current method. I could implement like a reorderable list, but that's also kind of circumstantial. Yeah, that's not ideal. I'm also curious to see what actually happens anyway when I do something like this. So, actually, if I want to be quick and dirty about it, I can probably just edit the actual text file directly. All right, so let's go down to hit. Hit. Climb, hit. Ah, here we are. We're just going to get rid of one null. All right, so now when we update, what should happen is this output 3 should change to output 2. And if we have two outputs, if we have output 2 and then output 3, that means that we're not doing something right. So let's go ahead and clear all of our errors. Hit update. Cool. So it worked. It did not keep our position up, but that makes sense because it determined that it was not the same. All right. So as one final test, I'm going to hit update again, and now hopefully that transform is still there. No, it's not. That's not good. Crap. That's really not good. All right. Well, first things first. Let's test if this actually works. If it plays the sound at the designated position. Then we will look into trying to get this to correctly function in the editor. All right. Cool. So let's say hit. It did. Oh wait. I don't know why I thought that would work. We haven't scripted the logic to get it to work yet. Duh. All right, so that means we just have to go over here to verb. Let's see, output, blah, 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 blah. Update output data. I suppose... let me peek this real quick. Session not set output data. Nope, that's not what I need. All right, so let's go ahead and say... I suppose I should have a play output audio. Well, no. Yep, this is super fun. Man, I need to basically retrieve the audio index so that I know that it needs to play audio, and then I need to actually play the audio that's there. Should I have a get function in the verb that retrieves it? Because it's really only going to be used here, I think. I would think. And actually, we might end up changing it. But all right, let's just go ahead and do this for now. So we're going to go ahead and say for, well, actually before we do that, we'll say if output audio, nope, not that, output audio dot count is greater than 0. So we don't need this lead loop through it if we don't need it. We'll say for int I equals 0, I is less than output audio dot count I plus plus. Okay, so we're basically going to loop through the audio, get the first output that is supposed to target the current output index, and then we will play its audio, which means that actually I'm going to have to do this before this output increment here. There we are. We're just going to say if output audio at I dot index is equal to I? No. Is equal to output index. If that's the case, then we will break and we will say if, yeah, this is where we get some super fun safety checks. So we're going to have to say 1 if the output audio at I dot sound ID does not equal 0, which means that it's not a sound ID, like there's nothing assigned to it. Then, well, so if it's not empty, then we're going to play. And then we're going to say if or output audio of I dot position is equal to null. No, I'm not going to do this null check here actually, because at parse time it should determine if it's null or not, and then if it is, just assign a default value. I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and say if the sound ID is set, then we'll say sound manager dot play output audio of I dot sound ID, and we will play it at output audio of I dot position. All right, so let's go ahead and let that compile. So now when we test it, it should be good. Okay, so let's see what happens. My cat wanting attention. So now, if we hit the bear, yes, we got it. And that actually means that we can do multiple different types of growls, and then we can do, actual roars at the end there. So that's also a little bit of a spoiler that you can interact with this bear, and it's actually a bear. In any case, so that means that that's working. That's good. So now I want to do two things. One, I want to actually update this to be Tiger Growl 2, and then instead of null, Tiger Growl 1. And actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and name these Bear Growl 1, Bear Growl 2, and we'll also have a Bear Growl 3. Uh-oh. Okay. Like, what's going on? Why are you... That's super... Oh, it's good. Okay, whatever. All right. And we'll also go ahead and just kind of copy this for now. Again, it's faster than downloading all of this. Yes, I see you, cat. When you have cats, they love to get up in your keyboard whenever you're doing streams. I can confirm that. Bear Growl 2. Let's go ahead and copy... Well, actually, we'll copy this, I think. This will be Bear Growl 3. Nice thing about having these be name-based is, well, their values be int-based, but their parsing be name-based is I can actually go into, where are you? Go into our sound manager here. In our sound collection, I can actually rename these things as I see fit. So Bear Growl 1. Let's go ahead and drag this in. Call this, oops, if I could type Bear Growl. Actually, you know what? This will be 3. This will be 2. This will be 1. Okay. And you can see that it's sorting these by alphabetical order. So as I rename them, they get sorted naturally. All that stuff's good. And I suppose we'll go ahead and do one last one for the final one. And this will be Bear Growl 3. Yes, I see you, cat. All right. So now if we reparse our bear one more time, we should see this update. It's all going to be null. Oh. Could not find sound with Bear Growl 3. That's interesting. Did I spell it wrong? I must have spelled it wrong. Let's see. Where are you? You're all the way down here. Ah, capital G. Yeah. I probably shouldn't be so stringent, but let's go ahead and redo that. Okay, so we have all 3 now. And if I assign this to them and then I refresh, they'll get cleared. So I need to fix that. So let's go ahead and go to verb. And we're going to go back down to here. All right. So what was I doing wrong? I'm going to put a little debug in here. Debug.log. We'll say old audio does, well, old audio matched. All right. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and debug the differences, actually. That way I can know that they're not matching and it's not just an operator problem. Old audio not matched. And then we'll have a bunch of stuff here. So we're going to say string.format. This is actually going to be kind of a long one. Then we're going to say new line. Index 0 1. Then we'll go ahead and do another new line. And then, not index, but I guess audio or sound. And this will be their sound IDs, so it's going to be not a great thing because it's going to be int values, but you know what, it'll be fine. So we're going to say here, output audio of I, and then dot index, followed by new audio of j dot index, followed by output audio of I dot sound ID, and then ending with new audio of j dot sound ID. All right, now we should get a little bit more robust logging, and we should be able to see why it's not working. All right, let that compile, and then we should be good. So it'll actually be pretty nice to have audio interactions functional, just because it lets me do things like, you know, climbing sound effects for ladders, small interaction sounds when you do things. So like when you punch a metal slab, I can actually have a little like metallic sound when you do that. Okay, so let's clear this, and let's go ahead and hit update. What the heck? Nothing? You lie. Let's go ahead and say debug.log output audio.count. And then we're going to go ahead and say plus a divider plus new audio.count. Make sure that we're not getting skipped over somehow. I mean, we can't be, right? Because otherwise this would never get assigned. But that is somewhat strange. All right. Again, let's clear this all out. Hit update. What? That doesn't make sense. How on earth can our output audio be 0? We don't clear it, do we? At least I don't remember writing something to clear it. This, oh, geez, what the heck? How is that? How's that getting set to 0? Yeah, that's not great. All right then. Huh. Trying to think how could it be set to 0? I never explicitly tell it to be. You can see here that I never tell it to clear, so I don't know how it can be 0. Let's go ahead and hit refresh again. Still 0. Okay. That is, again, I'm baffled. Because that can't be the case. We assign it to be new audio, and I'm looking at it right there. You lie. You lie, sir. Wait, hold on. No, that doesn't make sense. Huh. Okay, let me look at my code, make sure I'm not doing something stupid. Output audio somehow has its count set to 0. But you know what? Just to humor myself, I'm also going to log it after I assign it to be new audio. I'm going to be very angry if it's somehow not, or if it's somehow still 0. That would be very strange to me. Come on. Come on. There we go. Because we're also not increasing in number, so this is super weird to me. Update. There is what I would expect, 3 and 3. But then when we update again, it's going to be 0 and 3 again, isn't it? That is so weird. Okay. What could possibly be doing that? No, 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 no. That doesn't make sense. Okay, let me see this. Find all references. If its count is greater than 0, that's all fine. We debug the count itself. For int I is less than count. Output audio. Okay, that's all correct. I'm going to save this scene, and then I'm going to leave the scene and come back. I want to know if it's, for some reason, not serializing properly. That'd be super weird, but maybe. It seems odd, especially since it has a count size that's greater than 0 by the end. Just something has to be interpreting it as 0 for some reason. It's very strange. Let's see, props, den, stand, bear. Okay, those are all correct. Let's clear this out and hit update again. How can you possibly be 0? It doesn't make sense. Something else has to be happening here. I have to have like a duplicate output audio or something. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's right there. It's fine. What on earth could be doing this? So I mean, that's the problem. That's the reason why those transform values are getting reset, is because for some reason output audio is being interpreted as empty. I don't know how, and I don't know why. Let's see here. Output audio count. What is it? It's less than output audio count. J is a new audio count. New audio. I mean, it's incredibly strange. I guess I'm gonna comment that out. See if when I update that gets reset somehow. Like maybe I need to actually do an add range instead. That would be really dumb, but I guess I wouldn't doubt it if that was the case. Let's go ahead and clear that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and update. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yep, I gotta do this. This is really dumb. Add range. Let's see if this fixes that particular problem. I am curious. So that's a little fun little thing I didn't know about structs and lists. Apparently a temporary list will basically just be interpreted. Well, apparently an actual public list will lose its reference, I guess, when its temporary list that was assigned to it is cleared. So let's go ahead and clear this out. Let's hit update. Okay. Now let's hit update one more time. Nope. Still 0. Okay. Then bafflement continues. What else could be doing that? Jeez. Okay. Huh. So, yeah, that's super odd. Let's equal to new, oops, audio, if I could spell. So it gets assigned, but then it gets cleared at some point. Why? This is super weird to me. Because the problem is, if it wasn't serializing, then when I left the scene and came back, it should have reset. But it didn't do that. So we still have these. It's just that for some reason, when I try to detect this list, it thinks that it's empty, which is incredibly weird. Let's see here. Let's clear this. Let's hit update again. Still 0 and 3 initially. But that doesn't make sense. How on earth? Let's see if there's anything at all. That's just called output audio somehow. Like maybe I'm referencing the wrong output audio. That's the only thing I can think of. Let's see. Output audio. No, I'm not. I don't. That's so weird. Okay. Well, I love it when I run into something like this. This is such a stupid error to run into right now. We're going to end on such a high note, and I refuse to stop until I solve this. Let's see, find all references. Make sure that this is at least the correct one. It is. Then why are you so weird? Huh. I wouldn't think that it's a struct thing. You know what? Just as a fun little test case, I'm going to be super unhappy if this works, by the way. We're just going to go ahead and say public list of ints, whatever. Output audio index is equal to new. We're not going to keep this. I'm just going to use it to populate a value and make sure that it's correct. All right. So let's go ahead and say output audio dot audio index. Okay. Output audio index dot, and we'll say equal to new list int. We'll give it a capacity of output audio dot count. Cool. So that should give us a list that we can then examine. And I'm just going to go ahead and examine its count. Curious to see if it thinks it's also 0 for some reason. Which, keep in mind that basically should be impossible. If we have any sort of list, then that index list should balloon up to whatever it is. So we'll see if this remains at 0. I think it will the first time we hit update because we haven't run it yet. Okay. Update again. It's still 0. Wow. Okay. I am legitimately baffled. Let's try new audio instead. See if that does it. I guess we should also go ahead and debug our inspector to make sure that it actually shows up. Where'd it go? Okay, great. So that's super fun. We're just going to do an old-fashioned for loop here. For int I equals 0, I is less than output audio dot count I plus plus. Output audio index dot add 1. Okay, wow, that just did not work out very well. There we go. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and say output audio index dot clear. So now we should have a list that I can definitely see, and it will definitely have outputs and contents, and then I will be able to check it. Because if it says that it's 0, I am going to smash something. I am quite sure. All right, so let's go out of debug mode. Let's clear our console. Let's hit update. Okay, it's going to be 0 and 0. That's fine. So go ahead and update again. How? Okay, let's go to the debug. Look, it's clearly not 0. It has a count of 3. What is happening here? What else could do this? This is really weird. Wait. I might know what it is. Okay. I know what it is. It was me being silly again. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. we'll keep all this stuff in there for now. The problem was in my interactive object. Well, interactive object. Yeah, down here. So when I regenerate my verbs, I don't think I pass the old verbs output audios along. And I'm going to have to do that now. Okay, that would be why. Let's go ahead and say word checks, item checks, verbs. Here we are. New verbs, new verbs, new verbs. Okay, let's see. If this, yep. We're good. Then we're going to say new verbs of I dot output audio is equal to verbs of I dot output audio. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of our output audio index stuff up here. Get rid of you. And get rid of you. All right, I think we fixed it. Well, I say that, but we haven't actually tested it. But that actually would explain why it was happening, because it was legitimately clearing out the list since it was making a brand new verb object. Duh, I completely forgot about that. All right, so now let's go ahead and clear this. Let's hit update. A little nervous there. Dang it. Okay, so things are not looking super great. Let's see. Verbs dot count is equal to verbs dot count. Verbs dot output audio is equal to verbs dot output audio. All right. As a test case, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, because now when we update, we should still retain the old output audio. It shouldn't clear. And if it does, then we have something else going on, which is not great. All right, so let's go ahead and clear our console. Hit update. Okay, see, it didn't clear. It didn't clear. Oh, geez, that's super awkward. Great. So, okay. Yep. Geez. That means that this audio check basically needs to happen in interactive object, not in... Jeez, that's so freaking ridiculous. Okay, let me think. How do I want to handle this? Yeah, that's not great. God, that sucks. Yeah, cool. Dang it, this is such a stupid issue. Well, not stupid, it's one that's kind of awkward to try and fix. So currently, if I assigned my transform values here, so if I assign my model, if I hit update, they will be correct. Yep. But that's only because I'm not resetting them, which means that I do have to move. Jeez, that sucks. God, that really sucks. So I basically have to move this entire chunk of parsing into interactive object for that comparison. Ugh! That really sucks. Yep. Great. All right. Well, we got to do it. Oh dear. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab all of this. Get rid of it. I don't think this is the first time I've actually had to do something like that. But it is pretty weird that I have to do something like that. So, oh boy, this is not going to turn out well. Yeah, that just close that up. Maybe I can just do a comparison function, actually. That seems like it would be easier. So instead of doing this, let's go ahead and move this back here. Yeah. Save this. All right. So I need to turn this into a function, basically, that will sort of refresh itself based on an old list of audio. Hey, okay. So let's go ahead and grab this chunk again. Do this. We're gonna have a public void update output audio. That will take a list of output audio, old audio, paste this in. All right. We'll go ahead and say if old audio dot length is greater than 0. Oh, that sucks so very, very much. Now, doesn't it? Actually, so I guess I do have to awkwardly still do this. Oh, crud, of course. So I still have to parse it out here. It's just that I'm not going to compare it to old stuff here. So that's kind of awkward. All right, so we'll still do this. Get rid of these. Oh boy. And change this to out audio. We don't need this anymore. Instead, we're just going to do this, which means that our actual comparison is going to be basically this. All right, so old audio.count. Hey. Oh wait, we don't need to parse this anymore, so I can actually get rid of this. And we can also get rid of this. All right. So change this to output audio, old audio, output audio, old audio, output audio. Okay. Paste that in, output audio, old audio. So it's a little awkward getting here, but I think we finally did. Hey, quite a trek. And I think this is all we really care about. Right? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Also, I forgot to turn on my login stuff or my Streamlabs stuff. No. So, thank you, Spock. Sorry. Now that's on, so hopefully it should show up if someone else does that. If someone else actually follows. In any case, final things before we can test this actually. Let's go ahead and paste this. Paste that. Okay. All right. Last thing to do is instead of doing this, we're just going to say new verbs of I dot update output audio from verbs of I dot output audio. All right. I think this will work. I'm really hopeful that it does. Okay. Not happy that it took me this long to fix that issue, but it was a very esoteric issue, I'm not going to lie. Okay. Let's clear our console and let's hit update. Yes, we got it. think. I'm 90% sure. It's kind of tough to tell. But it does seem to at least persist. I guess as a quick test, I'll go ahead and remove this temporarily. Then we will update, and then I will, so let's update. Now we should only have the 2, 1 and 3. Good. Right. Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So the reason that our transform got wiped there is because I was using the index value for each sound clip to determine what output it would go with. Makes sense that it would be null there. That actually makes sense. Then we update. So now we should be, yep. All right. So now it should be properly updating as we go through, which means that now if we try hitting the bear multiple times, we'll get different roars on each hit, and it will work. So, that was a lot of effort. But you know, it's worth it for sound. So hit, and then hit. Okay. Oh, do I have to hit him 3 times? Oh, okay. That's not working apparently. But that's good. So we get separate bears, or we get separate bear growls, and we actually have output audio working. That's pretty exciting. That was needlessly complicated to get that to work. I am not going to lie. But at least we do have that working, and in the long run, that will help me a lot. Mostly because if I didn't do that, I would have to manually reassign those transforms every single time I wanted to update an object, and that's obviously not ideal. So, okay, so I think that was the main goals that we wanted to accomplish today. We have an audio system that can parse audio information from spreadsheets, as you can see here. We have an actual audio system that itself is, well, visible in our inspectors. That's good. And is fairly simple to use, if I can find it. There it is. So makes it a lot easier for us to use these drop downs. Makes it easier for us to select these things via some sort of drop down interface instead of having to enter string values or int values. So it's a lot easier to grab audio now. We have a sound manager that can play things based on sounds that have a lot of parameters set to them. Overall, a lot of progress today. The sound manager is a lot more robust too, which is always good. Trying to think if there's anything else I should do tonight. Probably nothing small, but that's very exciting that we have audio interactions set up now. So from now on, I'm going to start actually adding in a lot of small audio cues to things you do. I'm going to focus on getting climbing to sound correct. So when you climb, it's actually going to do like a little climbing sound effect. So it sounds like you're climbing on the object that you're actually climbing on. Whenever you hit something, oh boy, this is going to spiral out pretty crazily. When you hit something, you're going to get a hit sound effect. Oh my goodness, though, that makes it even more crazy because that means, actually, let's go to our interactive object template. So we have verbs, and now we have that audio that happens, but we're also going to need to have output audio here. Because if you hit a piece of wood with your fist, it should sound like you're hitting wood with your fist, but if you hit it with a sword, it needs to sound like you're hitting it with a sword. Oh my goodness, this is going to spiral out so badly. The things I do for immersion. But yeah. So that opens up a whole new world of oral effects that we will get into. That's pretty exciting to me. I think it'll help a lot with just sort of pulling people into the world and making it sound real. It's also nice just to get back into audio stuff. I've kind of ignored that for a long time. But yeah, so I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the day. 2.5 hour stream, getting audio effects to work. Let me think. Any announcements? No announcements right now. big ones would be, I guess, we're back on schedule, so I'll be streaming again on Saturday this weekend, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, doing getting back into custom content creation. So we left off with, I believe, partial implementation of interactive objects. So we're going to expand on that, try to get that to work nicely. And obviously that means that now we need to expose the audio stuff. I don't know if we'll actually get that far on Saturday, but we'll be doing interactive objects in custom games on Saturday. So, all right, that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.